What's up guys, welcome back. Blizzard has apparently doubled the health of every boss in the Mage Tower. If I had to guess, this is a reaction to seeing how quickly some people are taking care of the fights. Without looking too deep into it and realizing players can still get 70% versatility in the tower and a bunch of extra main stat from a couple War Within Enchants, 10% Leech from War Within Enchants, as well as favorable scaling from older consumables. For the most part, I've been an advocate of not doing too much prep to clear the challenges, but given that the boss health has now doubled, I would generally recommend following the gearing tips I'm going to provide for you in this video. In my most recent guides, I've been including the gearing tips as well as the strategy for the particular spec I'm doing the guide on. This time, we're just going to do the guide on gearing, and I can link it and reference it in future spec guides that I put out, so one, we're not wasting your time with 4 or 5 minutes of this on every video, and 2, this will hopefully give this guide enough exposure so that people can just find it on its own, or anybody playing any spec trying to get their tower challenge completed, and not just having to wait for me to knock out the Outlaw guide or Unholy Death Knight guide, etc. This is not going to be a guide that tells you to go get a bunch of gear from Burning Crusade or Mists of Pandaria or anything like that. When you see the power gains of the stuff I'm going to recommend, you'll realize you really don't have to bother with any of that. I'm going to keep this as short as possible. All I ask is that you help support the channel by subbing to the channel, liking the video, commenting below, sharing with your friends, checking out channel membership options by hitting the join button, all that great YouTube stuff. Thanks so much guys, let's get going. The first thing you want to do is get your Season 3 4-set bonus. Legacy tier bonuses don't work in the Mage Tower, and they've been a little inconsistent in the last 2 expansions about whether current tier gear works. Season 3 set bonuses currently do. Keep in mind they change based on whatever your hero spec is. And as is the case with most expansions, the final tier set bonuses are going to be the most powerful you're going to see, so I would highly recommend getting these. As I'm making this video, we have 5 catalyst charges available to us. So you only need veteran gear or higher. If you finish the Delver's Journey, you can buy this with undercoins from the vendor next to Bran in Dornegal. And if you're only gearing for the Mage Tower, it doesn't matter if it's veteran, champion, hero, whatever. Just anything you can throw in there to get that 4-set bonus. Also make sure to check your war bank for any warbound, veteran, or champion gear that you might have from the world boss or other sources. Next up is a combination of gear that will let you get 70% versatility in the Mage Tower on any spec. This will require both of your embellishments, one of them on a weapon and one on any armor piece or cloak slot, and a trinket you can purchase on the auction house. The Reishi Wraps Artifact Cloak does not do any significant damage, nor does the socketed fiber give you any stats in the tower. You're going to want to have a crafted weapon with the Darkmoon Sigil Symbiosis embellishment. This can be done with any Season 1, 2, or 3 Spark, and even blue rarity crafted pieces can accept this embellishment. This will give you a stack of versatility every 10 seconds, up to 5 stacks. You can then double this effect with the Writhing Armor Banding embellishment, which can go on any armor slot. You cannot put this on jewelry. And again, you can use the blue rarity crafted pieces to make this embellished armor, so you don't have to eat up one of your current sparks. And lastly, you're going to use the Darkmoon Deck Symbiosis trinket. The trinket itself has been nerfed incredibly hard in the Mage Tower, but having it equipped still allows your weapon embellishment to receive an additional modifier. Fully stacked up, you'll have over 70% versatility on any character after 50 seconds of combat. Next up is the Crystalline Radiance enchant for your chest. This will give you nearly 100 main stat in the tower. Baseline with no enchants or anything like that, you walk into the tower at roughly 400 main stat, so this is a very big boost to your output. For strength and agi users, you can also get a Stormbound armor kit. This will give you 123 main stat and then like 118 stamina. That's an extra 1400 health in the tower. You can also use the Defender's armor kit if you're doing the tank challenge. It'll give you 130 armor, which is a lot, but I would still probably go with the stamina for this one. And if you're an intellect user, you'll need to use the charged armor kits to get the giant primary stat value and stamina. The tailoring leg enchants scale to like a pitiful 15 intellect and like 10 stamina. So charged armor kits, these came out in 11.1 and they switch between all 3 main stats and give a little bit less overall, but it is the only intellect option that's comparable to the Stormbound or Defender's armor kits. And you can get another 1400 HP if you use the Defender's March enchant for your boots. If you don't need the HP, Scout's March will give you 60% movement speed, but 1400 HP is about a 10% boost in your health. I would definitely recommend Defender's March for this one. Cloak and Bracer enchants. Chant of Leeching Fangs on your cloak will give you about 3.5% leech after the downscaling in the tower, and Chant of Armored Leech on your bracers will give you about 8.5%. That's an absurd amount of self-sustain in any DPS challenge. Very helpful for the healer challenge, and very nice in the tank challenge. The movement speed variants, Chant of Burrowing Rapidity and Chant of Armored Speed, do give you a whole lot of movement speed in the tower. You could certainly opt for that in the tank challenge or any version of the Thwarting the Twins. That's Affliction Warlock, Marksman Hunter, Frost Mage, Boomy, and Shadow Priest. I think that's it. For your weapon enchant, Authority of the Depths does a good amount of damage. It's about 3% of your damage, doubled for dual wielders. even after using the main stat enchants and versatility embellishments. Don't forget your ring enchants. Radiant stat enchants will give you 42 stats per ring. That's about 2 gear slots worth of secondary stats per enchant. Don't forget those, and don't forget your elusive blasphemite diamond. That scales down to 19 main stat. Then you can use the 5 different colored Algary gems to get your 10% additional movement speed. Keep in mind that's not reflected in the character sheet, but it's absolutely active if you have the 5 different colored gems. And since we're talking about gems, there are 3 older gems that do give you a bunch of main stat in the tower as well. Leviathan's Eye, Kraken's Eye, and Saber's Eye of Intellect, Strength, or Agility. That'll give you 23 Intellect for the Leviathans and 19 for the other 2. And they can be socketed in your War Within neck or rings. We're going to wrap things up with consumables. The stuff from 8.2 is still going to give you the most main stat. So that's Greater Flask of the Undertow for Strength, Greater Flask of the Currents for Agility, Greater Flask of Endless Fathoms for Intellect users. If you want more HP, Vast Horizons was a Stamina Flask, but I wouldn't really bother with that. And the damage potions, Superior Battle Potion of Agility, Strength, Intellect. Borealis Blood Sausage will give you like 4 times the main stat that a Midnight Feast currently will in the tower. Feasts were bugged for a little bit at the beginning of the expansion. Unfortunately, that's not the case now. And you can top those off with any older augment runes. They're either going to give you 7 or 11 main stat. Don't bother with the Crystallized or Draconic augment runes, unless you have the reusable one, of course. And who would forget the healing potion? Abyssal healing potions are like a lay on hands right now. They're a lot better than anything else you can bring in there, and currently not too pricey. And I know I talked about the Reishi Wraps. Reishi Wraps do less than 0.5% of your damage in there. You don't need to bother with Circe's Circlet from Season 1 either. None of the effects scale down favorably at all, and that's the same with the Disc Belt from Season 2. I would just get any alternative piece of gear for your belt slot if you're still using the Disc Belt, but it's only about 20 stats total, so if you don't have something else to put on, that's going to be perfectly fine. I know the Energy Shield doesn't, and typically additional effects like this don't scale down very well. They're usually percentage based on the item level of the gear or something like that, right? But that's all I got for Mage Tower gearing. This should set you up pretty well for any challenge in Season 3. And while I would normally say you don't need any of this extra stuff in the Mage Tower, I would at the very least get a chest enchant, get your leg enchant, and get your tier gear since it's effectively free as long as you have Season 3 gear to use in the Catalyst. And if you go the extra mile with that 70% versatility through the embellishments and the trinket, you're going to be just fine. Those boss health values being doubled can certainly present quite the hurdle if you were doing it before Season 3 and then came back to it. It's going to seem like it's a lot tougher. Use one or all of these to give yourself the edge you need in the Mage Tower. I'm still going to do spec guides. You'll find them linked in the description below. We'll probably update them for 11.2.5. Good luck in any of your challenge. Make sure to sub to the channel, like the video, comment below, share with your friends. Check out channel membership options by hitting the join button below. As always, I will catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.